So today we're going to talk about the prodigal son. We're going to learn the story. Many of us already know the story, but it's okay. We need repetition. And then we're going to apply some of these teachings into our lives and do also some comparison with some of the spiritist books and teachings. So my goal is towards the end, when we leave here, there is one thing that you may have heard that will touch you. That go, oh, let me think about it. And this is what I'm gonna work on myself this week. All right? And we are here just as a big family. I don't know everything. I'm just learning with all of you. And I've talked about this before, but every time I talk about it, something else comes up that I need to work on myself. It's like you're reading the Bible or the Gospel according to Spiritism. Oh, but I already know the story. But we are not the same. Every minute we are changing. So the person that you were a minute ago, right now you are already different. So let's get into this journey together. I was lost, and now I'm found. I love this. So I decided, instead of reading to you the passage in the New Testament about the prodigal son, you gotta love YouTube, right? Why say it if I can show a short video and then we talk about it? All right, here you go. Can we turn the light off for you?
It's all good.
It's all good. Time. Let's do the volume too. I am so glad that he's here. Okay, here you go.
A certain man had 2 sons. And the younger of them said to his father, Father, give me the portion of goods that falleth to me. And he divided unto them his living. And not many days after, the younger son gathered all together and took his journey into a far country, and there wasted his substance with riotous living. And when he had spent all, there arose a mighty famine in that land, and he began to be in want. And he went and joined himself to a citizen of that country, and he sent him into his fields to feed swine. And he would fain have filled his belly with the husks that the swine did eat, and no man gave to him. And when he came to himself, he said, How many hired servants of my father's have bread enough and to spare? I will go to my father. I will say unto him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and before thee, and am no more worthy to be called thy son. Make me as one of thy hired servants. And he arose and came unto his father. But when he was yet a great way off, his father saw him and had compassion, and ran and fell on his neck and kissed him. And the son said unto him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and in thy sight, and am no more worthy to be called thy son. But the father said to his servants, Bring forth the best robe and put it on him. Put a ring on his hand and shoes on his feet. and bring hither the fatted calf, and kill it, and let us eat and be merry. For this my son was dead, and is alive again. He was lost and is found.
And they began to be merry. Now his eldest son was in the field. And as he came and drew nigh to the house, he heard music and dancing. And he called one of the servants and asked him what these things meant. And he said unto him, Thy brother is come, and thy father hath killed the fatted calf, because he hath received him safe and sound.
And he was angry, and would not go in. Therefore came his father out and entreated him. And he, answering his father, said, Lo, these many years do I serve you.
Neither transgressed I at any time thy commandment, and yet thou never gavest me a kid, that I might make merry with my friends.
But as soon as this thy son was come, which hath devoured thy living with harlots,
Thou hast killed for him the fatted calf. And he said unto him, Son, thou art ever with me, and all that I have is thine. It was meet that we should make merry and be glad. For this thy brother was dead, and is alive, and was lost, and is found.
So beautiful. I love it. Yes. So now that we know the story, let's talk about some of the characters in the story. So starting with the younger son. Okay. So prodigal. What is prodigal? It's a person who spends or has spent his or her money or substance with wasteful extravagance. Wasting the money, right? You have to you don't think about it, and you just spend the money like crazy. You don't think about the future and what you need. So that's what it was. Well, that's what it means. Prodigal is the spender, right? So if you look at him, when you think of somebody young, and you go, I think of my daughter. I think somebody young. Of course, young people, young kids, they don't know what they want. They're kind of selfish, right? It's all about me. So what do? I detach myself. I'm reading the story, and first I think about somebody else. All right, what else when I think about somebody young? Not patient, right? So I am now 50 years old, a little bit patient. A little bit. Imagine if you're very young, right? So patience is something that it takes a while to get there. And we have to work really hard. So when I think of somebody young, it's easily seduced by material things. I want this. I want that. Right? That's what he wanted. He thought the son that everything that he wanted was not what he had. He didn't give value for what he had. So he thought, my life is going to be better if I have all the money now. And I'm just going to enjoy life, not think about the future, right? We never thought like him, right? None of you when we're young. Sense of know-it-all. Don't tell me what to do, by the way. It's like his father was telling him, son, are you sure? Maybe you shouldn't do it. And the son said, no, that's what I want to do. And what did the father say? Okay, free will. You go and do what you want. Right? Distractions. If somebody's very young, we get distracted with things that are not important. And you have the sense of adventure. Now look, the sense of adventure is not a bad thing. Meaning when you are young. Because how do you grow? When you experience life. So a little bit of sense of adventure is good in life, because otherwise you get stuck here. I'm in my comfort zone and I don't want to do anything about it to grow. So young people, they have that. And we too. Why not? So, but what I want to call attention that, even though I'm mentioning somebody else young, we are prodigal sons sometimes. If we compare in the Spiritist teachings that we talk about reincarnation, and many lifetimes, we are just babies. Compared to eternity, we are just young spirits.
She's a toddler.
Uh-huh.
That's what I said.
Right? You know why? Because we still have a lot to learn. We are just like the sun. And we think that we know it all. We think we know what's the best for us. We play God. We are always playing God. Right? We say, God, excuse me, God. He's going, God, this is hurting. I'm having a problem. It's hurting. And you go, excuse me, God. You may have made a mistake. Because it's not working out. You think you're doing the right thing, but let me tell you, God, what we're going to do. Right? He should do this. She should do that. This pain should go away. And I'm telling you what to do, God. So we keep playing God. Knows what's the best for us. It's like that little child that we say, don't touch there, the toddler, don't, yep.
Yeah,
Was that that?
That was a very
Was that
tradition.
don't? But please, no, don't. So funny, go ahead. I remember my daughter, she kept playing, there was the bed and there was something here, I go, stop playing there, you're gonna fall. No, and I moved. Stop, you're gonna fall, go ahead.
This one here.
All right, honey. What did you learn? But we are just like toddlers at times, don't we? We just want to do it. And even though the signs are telling us don't do it, and God is telling us and all everything, we want to be just like the prodigal son. The younger son. Okay? So, being a spender also. Oh, what does it mean being a spender if we are not only talk about money? Are we prodigal? Yes. There are times in our lives there are big spenders because we waste a lot of our time. We waste our time worrying about things that probably is not going to happen. We worried about what other people are telling us, are thinking about us. We are worried about too much about work. We are worried and worrying. Like, meanwhile, we are wasting our time. Time that we could put away into doing something good. Time that we could put exercising, getting healthier, doing charity. But we keep wasting, like he wasted all his money. So let's think about that. So the other part about the story is the journey. So it says, not long after that, the younger son got together all he had, set out for a distant country, and there squandered his wealth in wild living. So here he is. Right? So what does the journey means? Is the free will. The father told him, don't go. But he still wanted. Like God's telling us, Bernadette, please, don't do that. Don't tell me what to do.
I'm
No,
gonna-
Bernadette, look at the signs. Didn't you get it? That every time you go into this direction, everything goes wrong. It's my business, right? I know what's best for me. Okay. God give us the free will to go through your journey, to go to my journey. What about also the journey was focused on material world? I have my journey, the younger son, and all he thought was about money, forgetting that there is another way more important journey, the spiritual one. We are so distracted with things outside us that we forget to do this. True. Who am I? What's going on in my life? What do I need to learn? Spiritual journey. And what are the things that are distracting me from my inner journey? From my spiritual growth? What is moving me away from my spirituality? Every day, we have the opportunity to grow spiritually, to look at ourselves. Every day. So what is it that is stopping you? But in any moment, God is going to say, hey, stop. He said, go ahead. Try it. After he had spent everything, there was a severe famine in the whole country, and he began to be in need. So he went and hired himself out to a citizen of the country who sent him to his fields to feed pigs. He longed to fill his stomach with pods that the pigs were eating, but no one gave him anything. Oh my gosh. Imagine him had everything at home, and suddenly he's there and he had nothing to eat. He had to eat what was left over from the pigs. What is it? Humility. His ego now is saying, hey, you need to lower a little bit, right? So when we go away from God, in the story, the Father represents God, right? When you distance yourself from God, distracted with material things or whatever is going on in your life, when you move away from spirituality, you have pain. A lot of things happen to you. When you distance, pain, experience, you get hungry. Look, famine. He was so hungry because there was something missing. We cannot just ignore that we are spirits. We need all those material things, all the food and flesh, but we cannot ignore the spiritual nourishment. So he was so hungry. He was hungry for his family, for the Father and teachings. And if you know the story, what he was eating, for Jews, for Jewish people, they don't eat pork, right?
Yeah.
It's not considered clean. And he had to humble himself. He was so desperate that he had to do whatever it took for him to survive. What is that? Humiliation. Humiliation. Because he was raised knowing that pigs at the time, pigs were impure, and he had to be humble. Have you ever seen yourself in this situation? In your life? There are a lot of things are going on. No, I know, we are here. We come on Saturdays, we come on Wednesdays or Tuesday, whenever it's available. And we start getting distracted and we move away from our spiritual journey. And a lot of things start to happen, and we have pain and we have suffering. We lose a lot of things. And then we have to be humble. to realize it's time for me to go back. It's time for me to say I'm sorry. Forgiveness, because in the process, in our personal journey, we may hurt people. So, another reflection. Tom, can you read this for me, or you need glasses?
No, I got it.
Okay.
When he came to his senses, he said, "How many of my father's hired servants have food to spare, and here I am starving to death. I will set out and go back to my father and say to him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you."
Yeah. Find this picture that tells me a lot, just looking at that. So, what is the reflection? Is repentance, humility. He went through all that, and then adjust his thinking, new truth. That's the beauty, that how much I love this Spiritist philosophy. As I said here before, there is no guru, there is no priest, there is nobody that's gonna tell you what to like. Oh, I will pray, I will do everything for you. We inspire you, there are teachings, there is education, but in Spiritism we say, hey, reflection is good. Repentance, like, oh, I feel sorry, okay, I need help. But we really talk about adjusting, changing your thinking. As I was saying, reflection is good, but it's time to take action. We can just sit and wait. We pray and move our feet. But what did he do? He reflected, he stopped, he thought about it, and he go, you know what? I'm going to be humble enough to go back and say I'm sorry. So I adjust my thinking. It's the new truth, the new me, more humble. And now I'm going to change. I'm going to change myself and go back and take action. So, God's law. God's law, when we are talking about the commandments, the 10 commandments, commandment number 1 to 3 say love God above all else. The next 4 to 10, love your neighbor as yourself. Love is the fulfillment of the law. And what does the Spirit's book say? I'm going to ask Bella. No, it's a totally for me. Question?
Question 964. The Spirit's book. Is God concerned with each of our actions to reward or punish us? Aren't most of our of such actions insignificant to God?
What I'm saying that because he was suffering, right? He was hungry. So I go, okay, you see, God is punishing because he did something bad. He didn't listen to the Father. So we ask, wait a minute, is God punishing the boy? Does God punish us? So what does the book say? Go ahead.
God's laws apply to all your actions, and if you violate them, it is your fault. When a person violates one of those laws, God does not say, "You have been glutinous, I will punish you for it." However, God has set a limit. Disease and even death are the consequences of overstepping that limit. Anytime you are disciplined, it is a result of violating a law. Everything happens that way.
More.
All our actions are subject to God's laws. Any wrongdoing on our part, no matter how inconsequential it may seem to us, is a violation of those laws. When we experience the consequences of such violations, we can only blame ourselves, as we are the sole architects of our happiness or misery, as is shown in the following narrative.
I forgot. I took away the following narrative.
Oh.
Sorry. But what is saying here in the Spirit's book says, stop blaming others for whatever's happening to you. Stop blaming, it's my wife, it's my husband, it's my dog, it's my cat, it's my work, it's my pain in the back. I'm mean to you because my back hurts every day. So it's saying, hey, and stop saying that it's God punishing me. I deserve. That karma thing with the Spiritism doesn't work, right? In Spiritism is the law of cause and effect, cause and consequence. You reap what you sow. right? It's no, I'm being punished. No, honey, you are not being punished. It's just you release, you put this energy there, and now it's gonna back come to you. So whatever you wanted to receive, you throw out there, right? So, because God is love. The idea that God punishes. If God is love, it's just, everything is about love. So, the action. I'm gonna ask your turn
Oh, it's my
to
turn.
wake up.
I am. Okay, action 19. I'm no longer worth to be called your son. Make me like one of your hired servants. So he got up and went to his father.
I love this. I remember when I started studying spiritist philosophy, right? And I went there as a victim, complaining about my life, everything that was wrong, and it was not my fault. Right? Was somebody in my life that was doing this to me? It's so easy, and with so much love and patience. I was at the First Spiritist Federation. So they gave me these books, and they said, are you ready to get back? Yes. Are you ready to have a better life? And I go, yes. Okay. So here are the steps. So I go, come on, can you just give me a posse and everything will be fine? Well, we can definitely give you posse to help your energy. Honey, you need now to take some action. Right? I didn't like it. I really didn't like it. Because the way I was raised, I wanted somebody just to take care of me, do everything for me. And then I said, well, and the more that I studied, I go, what? I'm responsible for this?
I have
Maybe
to do
y'all
it.
caused this? And now you tell me. And then they said, and by the way, you need to come here every week. And after that, I go, now you need to come here twice a week because we need to do this treatment. And going there, if you were from Brazil, if you know in São Paulo, it was for me was a subway and bus and walk, and to get there, had to work so hard. Action. You know why? And I did for 5 years. Because the more that I learned, the more I start doing my spiritual journey, I changed myself. There's this weight on me, lift. Up and because there was nothing magic, I still had problems, but I started to understand why, what caused that, and I learned some tools. So the son, after he reflected, he didn't sit there and was waiting. He said, you know what? I know what's going on. I know the mistakes I made. Now, I'm gonna go and fix. I'm gonna go there. Right? But look, they didn't have car. He didn't have any donkey because he had to walk back. So it's not easy. It requires a lot of work. But he's like, no, I'm determined to go back. And what it is his desire to reconnect with his Father, which is God. Repentance followed by action.
This is important. Repentance first, then action.
And action.
Act.
And God lets you stay there, repent, and feel sorry for yourself as long as you need. You might not like it. Because once in a while, if you choose to stay there for a long time, something's going to happen to shake you. But action. That's when things happen to me. Yes, I do get upset. I raise my voice, I cry, and I get in that mode for a little longer. But then I remember all the spiritist teachings and I go, oops, I need to take action. I cannot just stay there. Okay, I need to move. What do I need to know? And even when I don't know what to do, I still take action. I pray and I call Ivone, right?
That's it. We're gonna call you distracting your hand.
Yeah, and then, and I have my credit card there, and I say, how much? And there is always a choice. There is always a solution. You might not like, just the way that we don't like what God tells us to do. But there is always a choice. There is always, you can always take action in your life. For whatever is happening right now in your life, you have a choice. How are you going to react? What are you going to do? Take action and move on a little bit at a time, right? And he did. Can I ask who's going to be my volunteer? Would you read that?
Spiritists can be recognized by their moral transformation and by the efforts they employ in order to dominate their bad instincts.
So look at this. By the efforts they employ. It might take a long time. I'm not saying it's overnight. But we always, okay, we know. We need to make the effort to become a better person. Today, I can for an hour not have bad thoughts. Okay, for 10 minutes, I'm not going to yell at this person. It's that constant effort. Every day is a new opportunity. Right? Okay, what's my next one? You want to read for me? Can you see? No? Too far?
Too far.
Okay, can you see or?
Yes, I can see it.
Okay. No, I just like wake you up. Go for it.
Wide is the door to damnation, because evil passions are numerous and the vast variety of humanity falls by the pathway. That of salvation is narrow, because man is obligated to exert great control over himself in order to dominate his evil tendencies and his wishes to pass through, and this is something that few are resilient enough to do. It complements the maxim, many are called but few are chosen.
From the gospel according to Spiritism. So look this. How easy, how wide is the door? You know, the narrow door and the wide door. I just want everything that's easy. And Jesus said, if you want to see the kingdom of heaven, you need to go through the narrow door. So you need to go on a spiritual diet, moral diet. You need to lose, we just want to lose our weight, but physically and morally, okay? We need to go on a moral diet. What is it that you need to lose? Oh, so you are running. What are you doing? Oh, I'm trying to lose, my ego now. As you run. If you could weigh ourselves, ego, and read again, and weigh ourselves afterwards, we'll see.
And you know the beauty of all this, the justice of the divine. Once we conquer, we'll lose ever and ever and ever. And nobody can take, they can take my burden, but they cannot take what I am.
Yes.
Dignity, honesty, decency. It's so beautiful. It's
It is.
eternal.
Oh, it is. And the return. Just 3 more slides. We are getting there. The return. Oh, when I see the video of his return, I always feel very emotional. Would you please read for me the one? Yes?
I can read in English.
Oh, it's
No.
okay. Anybody there? Yes, you want to go ahead.
The return, while he was still a long way off, his father saw him and was filled with compassion for him. He ran to him, threw his arms around him, and kissed him.
How beautiful. No matter how many times we mess up, God is answering us. Come back. Come back to me. I love you. I'm here for you. And here I am with open arms. I'll take care of you. You're special to me. It doesn't matter what you did. But Father, I did horrible things. It's the past. I don't care your past right now. For me, you are here. And you are the most important person at this moment. And I love you. And this is God. How happy when we come back. right? God's joy, open arms, protected and loved. Quick, bring the best robe and put it on him. Put a ring on his finger and sandals on his feet. Bring the fattened calf and kill it. Let's have a feast and celebrate, for this son of mine was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found. So they began to celebrate. So look, he was lost. And at the time, if you have you have a family ring in history. So we belong to the same family. This is the ring. So father said, hey, he's my son. I wanted that ring. Put that ring back. Let me take care of you. I'm here to take care of you, protect you. Celebrate. Because you were lost and here you are back. And this is so beautiful. Celebration, ring, you are my son, you are my family. Clothes. Look, the allegory. Look how dirty he was in his clothes, and what does the father says? Bring new clothes. He was no longer that same boy that left. He was back, a new man, new clothes, new person. So every day as we wake up, God is inviting us to be this new person, new spiritual clothing, right? And what about the old son? He was not happy about it. Right? Can you help me with the read, please?
The older brother became angry and refused to go in. So his father went out and pleaded with him. But he answered his father, look, all these years I've been slaving for you and never disobey your orders. Yet you never gave me even a young goat so I could celebrate with my friends. But when this son of yours, who has squandered your property with prostitutes, comes home, you kill the fattened calf for him.
Oh, he was not happy about it. The son. Look at his face. So what does he represent in our lives? People that judge. Judgment. Because he has such a limited vision of life. If you have just a vision like this is it, this is one life. You messed up. Too bad, so sad. You messed up. I'm sorry. But here now, as we study and we learn, there are many lives. Right? So the father knew the importance of that son coming back and growing. But not everybody does. He was very limited. He had a limited vision. Lack of understanding of the importance of progress. Instead of saying, hey, he made mistakes, but he's getting better. He's progressing just like us every day, right? And he's saying, and no matter how much you don't like the situation, he is your brother. No matter how much we may not like our neighbor, we are brothers and sisters. No matter how much we may not like somebody that killed someone that we love, one day, this person that is a murderer is going to be an angel. He's going to progress. It might take a long time or not. Because all it takes is awareness, waking up and taking action. I'm no longer that older person. I'm a new person. When we do mediumship meetings, and sometimes if you do this kind of meetings and you hear communications, we have a communications talking about the medium, and they tell, oh, but you in past life you did this. You in past life you were a mean person. Look what it did. And you go, absolutely right. but that was the old me. I'm no longer that way. And I'm here to learn, to repair, and do good. The best I can. Right? And that's what it's trying to say. No matter how much you don't like your brother, you're still brothers, and I am the Father, like here. No matter how much we might not like somebody, we are connected. And God's love. All right, I'm going to go back here. Bella.
God's, God's love. My son, the father said, you are always with me, and everything you have is yours. But we had to celebrate and be glad, because this brother of yours was dead, and he's alive again. He was lost and was found.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And also, this reminds us about reincarnation. Right? That we are alive again. So, who's my next one? Ivani.
He will never abandon any of his children, since sooner or later their eyes will be open. But he wishes this to happen of their own free will. Then, defeated by the torments of incredulity, they will turn themselves of their own accord into his arms, begin to be forgiven just as the prodigal son did. That's according to spiritual standard.
How beautiful. It's like, hey, it doesn't matter how long it takes. God will never abandon any of his children. But God, in his, amazing patience, he's waiting. Because he wants you to wait till you are ready to open your eyes and come to him.
So they say we are created simple and ignorant, and the goal is perfection. But time is up to us.
It's up to us. How fast you're gonna go. It's how fast, because this is what God says. You need to go from here to here, right? And then we go, okay, oh wait, what's that? Oh, look how cool. Oh, and then you go, oh, hold on, I need to come back. And then you have to come back like twice and work a little bit harder. We do this a lot with things that are not really important. So, one more. Question 933, the Spirit's book. People are, who didn't read? You didn't read?
People are often the architects of their own physical suffering. Are they the architects of their moral suffering as well? Even more so, because material suffering is something independent of their will. However, wounded pride, disappointed ambition, the anxieties of greed, envy, jealousy, and all the passions are the torments of the soul.
Please, if you don't have this book, get the Spirit's book. When you start reading this book, that's when I understood why am I suffering, what's going on in my life, what I have to do to get better. Go, and it was just one question at a time, and I had to think for the whole week. It's just questions and answers. And look at this. We suffer, but we create our own suffering. And usually we suffer because of our greed, envy, jealousy, and all the other passions. So if we get rid of this, there's going to be less pain and suffering in the world. Right? In summary, what did we learn today? Let's read together. 1.
We are spirits on directed journey and from many incarnations.
Got that?
Yeah.
Next.
We will make mistakes. Distractions, material seduction, we stray away from our path and God.
It means our. From our path. Not out.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Okay. Next.
God gives us free will, our own journey and learning experience. We make choices and are responsible for our suffering, not
Not a
victim.
victim.
Reflection.
Reflect. Take action. Reflect. Take action. It's not anybody's fault what's going on in you. With us, right? Next.
God's joy and forgiveness.
Remember, God is always joyful to have us. That sometimes in our path we're gonna have people that do not understand us and we judge us. Okay? So when that happens, you face that, okay. If that's you decide to judge me, it's your journey, that's what you think. Disagree, we can talk about it or we can walk away. Right? Still with love. Let's see, he has one more. And the last one. So these are our takeaways from that story. So this week, let's think about in what a way are we the prodigal son? How many times we move away from our path or from the path that God is trying to show. And it's okay. If we move away, we always come back. Because God is always ready to receive us with open arms. And when we do that, remember, reflect, change, a new person, and take action. Because God is always there to support and guide us. Okay?